Heyo, duckies and dice fiends. Welcome it. Rex, thank you so much for the resub. 34 months? My dude, that is so many months. That is so many months. Welcome in, y'all. It is Tuesday. That means it is time for the Table Talk Show. I am Kay. I am one of your co-hosts. For those of you who don't know, Kay lives in downtown LA. Hey, Matt, welcome on in. So if you hear helicopters and sirens, welcome to my life for the last 4 days. Yeah, we're fine. It's just, that might happen a lot. Matt, thank you for the resub. 13 months and a hype train. Y'all are too much. Thank you all again. We appreciate y'all being here. I'm Kay. I am doing this week. And that's all we've got for this week is this. But next week, we've got some cool stuff coming, including the 18th is my birthday. I may or may not be streaming that day. I normally try to stream on my birthday, but I'll be having a home game that day, so we'll see. I may or may not have the energy. But you're going to want to come on by on the 19th on Juneteenth because, something might be happening. Maybe. But I'm not the only one here. Oh my goodness.
Oh my.
Matt, thank you so much for all of the gift subs. Congrats, Candace, Ribbonanza, 20, Painting Pirate, and Youngles. Matt, thank you so much. That is so kind of you. Appreciate. I've talked a lot, and I'm in a weird energy. So David, who the heck is you, and what the heck is we doing here?
Hi, I am not starting my period despite how it may seem. I'm not, look, I am legitimately not, okay?
I believe you. I'm confused as to the, There are things I expect to come out of David's mouth, and that one I don't know what I was expecting, but it was definitely not that.
Hi, I'm David, and this is the Chaotic Wholesome Presents Tuesday Table Talk Show, where every week we talk about TTRPG stuff, how to be a better player, how to be a better GM, how to survive your period, how to be a better person, all with a focus on intersectionality and inclusivity so that everybody can have a good time.
And, we are unlocking a random emote. I'm watching, No one would be more surprised than David if he was starting his period.
Yo. Listen, I fully believe that everyone, if not most people, have a superpower. Like my writing partner's superpower is she always finds parking wherever she goes. My superpower is I don't get hangovers. And I remember listening for years about people bitching about hangovers. Then I was at my friend's house. We're getting
Lurking Writer.
Holy shit.
Lurking Writer, 10 gift subs. Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome on in. You are incredible. You need to save up for your computer, my dude. Like, we appreciate you, but also take care of that potato.
Yeah. But there's an episode of Mythbusters where they test beer before liquor never been sicker.
Mm-hmm.
And so they test drinking. And what's her name? The lady was pregnant, so she couldn't drink. So she was like the control tester person.
Mm-hmm.
And Grant and the other guy got so drunk and were so miserable when she woke up and the glee she had waking them up at 6 o'clock in the morning when they were drinking till like 1 or 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
And so beer in hand, I look over at my friend and I'm like, is this what you people feel? And for one, he was like, what do you mean, you people? And I'm like, oh, are you people who have hangovers? And he's like, well, yeah, like, if you never had a hangover? I'm like, no. Why would I have a hangover? And the fact that people willingly choose to do this, sometimes every weekend. Like, yo. And it's the same thing with periods, though, like, people who get periods don't choose them.
We very much do not choose them.
Look, we need to pass a legal
Very
initiative
much do not choose them.
where you just get a paid week off every month. Because the things that I have heard about periods,
It's not fun.
mind-boggling.
It's not fun.
Yeah, Carrie Byron. But yeah, Jesus Christ, ooh-wee. And look, I still have a lot of pain from post-hospital. If I had a period on top of that, like if I like ate some ice cream or like drank a glass of milk and then had a period on top of that, oh hell no, I'd be in prison. I would have off so many people. No, thank you. So to all the people who have periods, thank you for enduring that, so I don't have to.
I have had, I think, 3 hangovers in my life.
How much alcohol did you have where you got a hangover?
I will tell you what it was. It was every time it was alcohol plus period starting.
Ooh. It's not fun. That's not fun at all.
Yeah. So, with that, I missed something, but we're fighting people. You have my sword, David. So now that we've set that, oh, I forgot. I do have a thing to share. For those of you who did not see earlier, I got to do a really cool tarot interview a little while ago that just aired. It is literally tarot interviews with Finn, who was a delightful host, and we'd go through, we'd do a 3-card pull. We'd tell stories based on the cards that we drew, and there would be a soundtrack based on it. And it was a great little time. I had a wonderful chat. And that episode just released the 10th today. So go check that out if you so desire. And now that we set the atmosphere by talking about David's period,
we set the mood.
We're talking about setting the mood. No. That was saxophones and candles, though for some games, maybe.
Actually, yeah.
If Candace is involved,
definitely.
Strong possibility. But we're talking about setting the mood, setting the atmosphere for your TTRPG. How do you put it up? How do you maintain it? What goodies and gadgets do you do? How can you get yourself and your players in the right mindset?
Right. And I think the first step is to acknowledge why that's important. Because atmosphere and mood play a big role in not only how viewers experience a game, but in how your players experience the game. And you, like, I wouldn't say that we're like horror specialists, but some of our biggest campaigns have been horror games. And you think about all the different types of horror there are, including comedy horror. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times the difference between the different types of horror. Right. A lot of times the difference between the different types of horror is simply tone and atmosphere. And so you got to know what you're aiming for first. And then you have to sort of ride that line. Sometimes that very tightrope. Mm-hmm. But it is important to do because if you just show up and you plop all your books down and you plop down your math rocks, like, it's going to be a very different thing rather than having a whole thing set up. It's why they have the trips to England and the castles and like the D&D at the because you want to set some atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Host it in a decaying castle in England or the UK or over there on those 2 big islands.
Lurky Writer says props, music, snarling hellbeast, snacks.
Right.
Yeah. Or the much more simple way of putting it, which my wonderful GM for the now home game of Chalice said as we were trying to start one night and having a hard time starting because everyone kept cracking jokes, which broke the mood. He's like, I can't start yet. We don't have a soundtrack on. We don't have music on. I can't GM without music on. It's weird. I'm like, in LA they did just for Vampire the Masquerade. Yeah. It was funny. As you all know, I recently went to the UK to play a TTRPG with friends, and we rented a huge, 5-bedroom Airbnb. And in the world of Chalice is a country, and there's another country that several players played other characters from the country. And they have two dragon gods. And we literally decided the Airbnb we were going to stay at because it had two dragons on, two dragon statues on either side of the chimney. We're like, well, the dragon gods are going to be watching over us.
Oh, that's fantastic.
How are we not going to take the place with dragons? So that is both a big and a little thing at the same time. But I think it's a great example of, this is UK and Europe in general for the medieval aesthetic of high fantasy, urban sprawl for the cyberpunk modern settings. Get a bucket of sand and some whiskey for the Deadlands. Exactly. There's some cactus. Just get pokey with it. But no, music, I always have, if you've ever played with me, we use Bardly. I have music going, and I love Bardly because I have it going. I can control the playlist. Everyone gets a link that they open in their browser. They can control the volume of the music, but it will change for everyone when I change it. And if people some people find music distracting, because look, y'all, we're not neurodiversity comes in many forms. Some people need it. Some people can't handle music. Some people are like, yeah, no, got my own soundtrack. Cool. That's also good. But even if I'm a player and the GM is not sharing music, I have a little Bardly up and just some background music going because it definitely helps.
My favorite part, or one of my many favorite parts of one of the Gunblade runs we did was Kay is like, all right, here's Bardly, and then one of our players is like, is it okay if I play my own music? And we're like, yeah, it was fine. And so a couple episodes go by, and then we're doing the post show because we had a post show talk that was recorded, and then sort of post stream room thing. And player had really emotional scene, very intense, gave an excellent performance. And somehow the topic of music came up, and they were like, here's what I was listening to. Slides across playlist, fucking K-pop, 100 tracks of K-pop. And I was like, God damn.
Performance. Yep.
Well done.
Many neurospices. Find the best way to let them all flow. Exactly. So again, that's one of the reasons I like having those kinds of options. So it's back when Discord was a little less shitty, and you could have a bot playing there, so they could choose to mute the bot or to raise or lower the volume of the bot. That was great.
Yeah.
The enshittification of the internet continues.
Yep.
It's the spice must flow. I know, especially for people. So we use Bardly because online, and it's great. There's another app, Pocket Bard, which is made for in person, and it's for iPad, Android kind of thing. And it has a whole bunch of pre-made songs plus sound effects that you can quickly hit, and it's made to attach to a Bluetooth speaker, so you can just play it in person. I've seen them at a lot of things. I'm like, I really like your music catalog, but it is literally made for in person with a Bluetooth speaker. They have no online integration. So maybe someday.
What was it that we used in that one game we played? Sirenscape.
Sirenscape, yeah, that's
So
also a popular
I've
one. Hey,
I've
Shelly.
tooled around with Sirenscape, and it's not it's not something I would recommend, but it's also not something I wouldn't recommend, just because I found it a little like clunky.
It's one of
But
those you have to invest in. Like if you're ready to
yeah,
invest the time to really get to know it, it can be really good. Also, Tabletop Audio has a player that is free. You can also get additional things. We use a lot of Tabletop Audio music for our backgrounds because we're Patreon supporters. But there's a player there that you can just do for free. I know some people who can't have music playing because they're musicians and they get absorbed by it. I know I need music without lyrics, or else my brain will wander off into parroting everything, which it does even without the lyrics, but imagine it happening constantly. We appreciate your parody lyrics, but it could I could see that definitely distracting you from the game itself. For me, I don't have enough free RAM to manage music while DMing. Yes, also absolutely fair. I have 100%. In fact, for the final season of EPP, which y'all, it's finished editing. We have to just do some afterburners, figure out our marketing. Final season's coming out soon. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for y'all to see how this story ends. Adam was GMing and I was controlling the music. I was playing DJ, and every so often he would be like, "Hey, can you change this to this?" Or they're like, "This, I need something more exciting, or I need something more emotional here." And of course that was pre-recorded, so it was easy to cut it out. But yeah, it is definitely jamming, especially online, especially streamed, requires a lot of a computer, a lot more than I think most people realize.
right. And there have been many stream games that we've done where I either had a hand in managing the music, or Kay was like, "All right, change it now, change it to this thing, change it to that," and I'm like, "Yes, click."
I would have for one of the seasons of the God Plane, I had like bits of it written out, and we would have like snippets of dialogue, like important things to make sure, and then I would have it there like, when I say this line, change the music in all caps, like highlighted. Oh, free memory in your brain, also fair, also very fair.
Yeah, like people don't realize how mentally intensive jamming is, because it's like running a TV show. It's like your average half an hour sitcom is like an 11-minute segment and like an 8-minute segment and then like a 3-minute segment. Or more simply, 2 11-minute segments and 8 minutes worth of commercials over the course of half an hour. So you have a 26 episode season that tells a story over the whole season. And then you have 5 seasons of a show that tells a story over the 5 seasons. And then you have each episode that tells a story. And then you have to split that story into 2 halves for the 2 segments of the episode. And then on top of that, each of your characters has their own story. Which is why, in a lot of ways, it's easier to write something like The Simpsons, where there isn't a lot of like growth and change of the characters, versus something like Battlestar Galactica, where you start in one place and end up in a different galaxy. And so you have to keep all that in your head, while your players are actively trying to ruin whatever story you're putting together. And you have to like think about each of your non-playable characters and their personalities and embody that. And you have to keep track of everybody at your table and what both their character personalities and their real life personalities. Like if you have somebody that's arachnophobic, you can't be like, "Oh man, by the way, there's a giant spider there," and then spend the next 10 minutes describing the spider. You got to not do that. And so like, but without any mechanics, without any music or like mood or snacks or any of the other stuff, just the storytelling aspect of it is a massive thing that you have to hold in your head. Like storytelling and being considerate of your players. And then you've got to add in all that other stuff.
And remembering NPCs, what did they sound like? What did they say last time? What's their feelings towards the crew? The writer says, yep, no online DMing on the potato. One of the few occurrences where PC actually has more RAM than my brain, but it still won't help. Billy says, I can hardly keep track of a choose your own adventure novel. Which fair. And Rex says, managing all those arcs for each player, plus a villain NPC plots, and keep the world spinning. We'll try to manage all the players and character engagement. It's a lot. It is. It's a whole lot. One of the reasons I like GMing small arcs.
Right.
Limited run things.
Oh man, I am currently working on a one shot for a thing. It's a home game. But I am integrating it into the thing that Kay and I are working on. And this is the first time Kay is hearing about this.
Yes, I'm terrified.
And so, like, it's not just choose setting, build characters, but there is an overarching story we have for the thing that we're working on. And so I've got to integrate it into that as well. And also keep in mind, I am a terrible note taker. Like, I played to the first ending of Blueprints and took one note the whole time. Like, and Kay
David has taken one note in Blueprints. I have seen it.
And Kay is the best note taker and remembers details of things from like 3 years ago. It's just like flip, flip, flip. I know there's something here. And then like a little scribble on like page 87 of the third notebook has like the important detail that I wasn't remembering.
GM, Thurkey Writer says a GM is a maitre d' / restaurant manager who's also head chef and dishwasher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that said, for people who want to GM, don't let all of that intimidate you, because it is a muscle, and the more you do it, the not only the better you get at it, but the easier it gets.
Yeah. Rex says, I'm blessed with players who take detailed notes and share them. Yeah, I have become note taker for the home game for various reasons, including my character's partner had to start leaving some of the sessions early, so was missing like a good chunk of the game. And I'm like, well, I want to make sure she knows what happened so she can play it right next time. And the other note taker was only taking notes in character.
Yikes. Yeah, no.
But no, there was, and it was the best. Being a note taker feels real good when like, I take, some of these sessions go like 6 or 7 hours home game and we all agree on it and it's all good, right? Games that go over without warning are bad. If everyone's on board, it's good. So some of my notes are like 20 some odd pages for a session. And I put them, I post them all in a shared Google Drive so everyone can go back and reference them. So people who missed a session or had to leave early can check them out. My GM was like, we had a thing. We basically met the god of this world, and she touched each of us, and we each had a mark from where she touched us. And the GM was like, I went back and I had to go back. I knew I wanted to do something with them all. It wasn't just going to be decorative. I told you all it was just going to be decorative, but like I wanted to do something with it. And I fortunately was able to go back and see exactly where each one was because there were great notes. And I'm like,
yep.
You find what works for you, what doesn't, and hopefully you can surround yourself with people who help cover the latter. Exactly. That is the trick.
Yeah, that's why the GM should never bring snacks to the game. Like players, if you're playing in person, bring snacks. Like get a feel for what people eat. Bring some.
I made bubble tea for my GM. I made bubble tea for everyone, and then like all but 2 people really liked the bubble tea. 2 of them didn't like the bobas, and were like, no one told me that. They just abandoned the glass with the bobas in the bottom, which is fine. But I made so much milk tea that I'm like, every time I'd get up to get something, GM's like, is there any more milk tea? Could I have some more milk tea? I'm like, yeah, I got you. For folks in home games, especially like in-person home games, I have seen people do really, really cool stuff of like, oh, we're starting a Strixhaven adventure, so they actually make their acceptance letter. And so they've like written it out and they've done like the wax seal, you know, or if it's, you know, you find a cryptic note and they have the letter with the in fact, for home game, one of the players is like a really into like riddles and cryptic stuff and code breaking, and they went and bought the little Da Vinci Code twisty thing, and the GM gave her a riddle, told her, and like she had to figure out the answer to it, put it into that, and then it popped open and it had important in-character information that her character did not have, some like a message from her father inside
That's
the
big.
thing. Yeah. I'm in the process of converting my notes to Obsidian. Now I can link the session notes more easily and add NPC notes too. Yes, Obsidian is a lifesaver for note taking. I put the raw of all of our notes in Google, but then we have an Obsidian vault that links to everything. And the stuff I have figured out that my GM didn't want me to figure out yet because of that. But as David said, my brain, we were again, I play so many games, but we were doing something and someone was doing this like 3 knocking. He's like, they knock 3 times. And I'm like, that's familiar. Where's that from? No. I play too many games. Knocking 3 times. Okay. Yeah, no. And then 45 minutes later, I'm like, it was on the boat. It was the guy on the boat. It's knocking 3 times. And I just see him like,
Ugh. I'm glad you noticed, but goddammit, you noticed.
Nick, your poor DM's brain is using a lot of sugar. Gotta feed the war machine. Exactly. I paraphrase slightly. David, GMs don't need to bring snacks. Players bring the snacks. Audrey, too, is GM. Feed me, players. During my brief time as a DM, I had at least 3 manuals and a binder I was hauling everywhere. I wish I hadn't got rid of my books, but I still love the idea of the setting that I was running. Ooh, that's really cool.
And like when it comes to like okay, so like again, if you are a GM or thinking about being a GM, don't be intimidated, just do it. Because hopefully you have players that are patient and understanding, and don't make outlandish demands of you. Yeah, if they're not, like, fucking move on. Like,
no captions. I did not say, and if they're not fucking.
Yeah, but like, you know, you go on the internet and you read all these horror stories of like, oh man, I'm trans and my GM is a turf, is anti-trans, is, you know, just a dickbag. But I've been playing in this game for 7 years and all my friends are here. And it's just like, are they really your friends? Like, why did you endure this for 7 fucking years?
Yeah. Post peak oil, post Ghostbusters, skyscrapers instead of caves and dungeons. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, I'm gonna say something incredibly LA specific, but it's like Labyrinth Ball, which is this really cool masquerade that happens once a year. It doesn't matter how hard you go your first time. You are going to get so much better so quickly. So like, I'm not saying like, in video games, especially video games and tech, we talk about minimum viable product, and that doesn't mean the shittiest thing you can put out. It means the most basic thing that you can do that works. Do not the minimum, but like what you need to do to make the thing work. Because as soon as you're done with it, you're going to go, oh, here's like 6 ways I can revise this and make it 10 times better. Whereas you can spend that same amount of time not having done it yourself, revising, planning, plotting, and it will not improve that much.
Yeah.
I know someone who spends weeks crafting physical props for his players, like in-universe paper currency, that's aged to look like it's been handled by real people for years, handwritten notes, maps NPCs have been sending to each other, etc. See, that is really impressive. I will say, Adam, our GM at Emergency Part Podcast, they hand make maps every single combat. Only we saw them, right? It was a
Yeah.
podcast. Only we saw the maps, but they handcrafted all of it, and it was very even digital. And it was Foundry, so they had all this custom lighting. We had token effects, so when Soul went supernova, like their icon would be on fire. There's someone who 3D printed a puzzle lockbox. Yep. Uh-huh.
Um, I saw online. So for people who played Skyrim, when you join the Assassin's Guild, they don't call it the Assassin's Guild, but you get a letter with like handprint on it. And I saw somebody for a D&D game had their handprint on a letter that each of the characters got. And so he handed out like 5 or 6 of these to the players. And I'm just like, oh man, that's bananas. That's crazy. I would never. And look, between the two of us, Kay is the artist. Like, you could go to a comic book shop and find Kay's work. I
Once upon a
would
time,
fuck up I would fuck up a stick figure. Okay, like the only non-A grades I had in grade school were conduct, handwriting, and art. And I had a teacher say to my parents while I was sitting there, I would fail your son in art, except the school does not allow me to give Fs for art or music. I was like, wow, that's encouraging.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Also, not the most traumatic thing that happened to me in art class in grade school.
David draws excellent. David draws stick figures and squiggles and goes, can you make a map out of this? I don't know if it makes any sense. And then I make a map out of it.
Man.
He's like, how did you do that? And I'm like, you are very expressive.
He is a wizard. We again for the setting that we're for our home game. I'm like, hey, we need a map, and Kay is like, I'll throw together a map. And so like I do just the worst MS Paint scripts, like kindergartner MS Paint. Brings back this gorgeous map that had everything I wanted. And then Kay was like, oh, by the way, like this like one space here didn't have anything. And I felt like a tower should go here. I don't know what to say. I'm like, no, the tower now has something. And so there's a whole campaign that I still have to write just about that fucking tower. But if even if like you're not the artistic type like me, even if you aren't like going to build props or things like that, one of the best games that I've run, one of the players, it was an in-person game, one of the players was half an hour late to every session, to the point where we were telling them that the session started an hour earlier than it actually started, so that they would get there 20 minutes early.
Hey, welcome on in. How are you doing, Akami?
And the first 2 sessions forgot their character sheet. So at the end of each session, they would give me their character sheet and I would take it with me with the rest of my stuff and then give it back to them when they got here. And then would sit there and be like face down in their phone for like half the session. But the fastest person in combat, the best role player at the team. And like when I would ask them something about a thing that happened with another character like 5 sessions ago, they would remember it in detail and like fully like lay the thing. Like they were my note taker, even though they did not take notes. So do not feel bad if like you're like me and you don't do an art thing, because you got to pull my teeth to get a map out of me, and it's going to be MS Paint and it's going to look terrible. It's like, this is a general idea.
Well, as the lurking writer said, so what you're saying is that, David, you're a concept artist and Kay is able to realize your vision.
Yes.
Yes, it is so good to have David back, and we are so happy.
But yeah, even if you can't do like all those things, don't feel like you are a bad player. Just bring stacks. I mean, just show up and be your best self. Be in tune with the party. Like, you know, show up, play, and have fun. That's the most important. And also,
Now,
don't ruin the mood.
yeah. Like when we run Godplane, we sit down with players and we're like, okay, like this is not the That's What She Said campaign, right? When a mind flayer shows up, we need you to not immediately go, whoop, 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 Zoidberg, right? We're not saying you can't be funny because you need humor to break the mood, right? But if we have set up the scene and a horrifying mind flayer is there, don't do Zoidberg right away. Wait until you've killed the mind flayer and the fight is over and everyone is like, ha ha ha, we survived. Then you can do the Zoidberg. And there's a reason they call the adventuring group a party. Exactly. Um, but yeah, help, because look, there is nothing more fun than having the complete aside, when having someone say the thing that causes everyone to laugh, and the entire campaign is forgotten for a good 15 minutes as we all laugh about this and riff off each other and, you know, turn a saying into a meme and then find a way to inject the meme into the game world. It's great. We love it. But then when it's time to get back on track, get back on track. Let your GM do their job. Of course, half the time my GM is the one derailing, but you know, what you gonna do?
And another thing that you as a player can do for mood setting, which Kay does often, including for all of their streaming games, is cosplay. Like, and again, there are limitations that people have. Like, some of the best performers I've seen never dress up for a game. And like, and I've seen decent to very good games where somebody has a pile of unfolded laundry on their bed in frame behind them. However, we've had tables where every single person dressed up, and not only did it like look great, but it added to their iconic performances. And so yeah, don't think of these things as like like you have to have music, you got to dress up, you have to make your own props, and like bring them and show them. But these are all tools in your toolbox to add to the experience.
And like, also like dressing up, cosplay, like for me, I don't always do it because, oh, I'm gonna cosplay. But like some of my cosplays, but like Bella was basically, you know, a teal scarf thing. And where she was in her arc, she wore it differently. So you kind of knew, but for me, a lot of the time, it's just getting into character. And oftentimes, if you have those things, especially if they're like little trinkets that you hold, so like I have Burton's pocket watch, and then Jago has a necklace that with a pendant that Renala has, and he plays with it all the time whenever he's in character. He fidgets with it the way that his character would, and it wouldn't have, like, at one point she was spiraling and we were trying to get her out of the spiral, and because he was fidgeting with the locket, it gave me I wouldn't have thought of it otherwise, but like pulled out the pocket watch, like, hey, look, they're about the same size. And like it started a whole conversation simply because we both had props and we were both fidgeting with them.
Also, a note to both GM and players: if somebody is fidgeting with something, that does not mean they're not listening.
Yes.
Like, there are like I think all of us at this point had some experience in a classroom somewhere where the teacher was like, "Stop fidgeting with that. You need to pay attention." I remember in high school, which is many years ago now, for senior year before school started, we had a seminar on nonviolent communication. And I learned a bunch of really cool stuff in that I still use and think about today. But the first thing that they did was the two ladies came in and they put pipe cleaners on the table. And they're like, everybody grab one. And so we all like grab one. And then they were like, all right, play with these while we talk. Like while we lecture, and then also like while we talk about like what we're covering. Because studies have shown that it increases retention when you have something to do with your hands.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not just, oh, people with ADHD can't focus. And it's not just, oh, neurodivergent people need to like play with something. It's for everyone. It could be a help. And I had a friend who had, at the time, a lot of personal problems. Her life is a lot better now, but at the time, and whenever we got on the phone, I fired up a video game that I could autopilot because I needed to really pay attention to what they were saying because every conversation was really dense with information. And at one point they got mad at me. They're like, are you playing a video game? I'm like, yeah, I'm playing a video game. Well, you want me to listen, don't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, so like if you are a GM, if you are a player, like for one, feel free to fidget with stuff as long as it's not like distracting. Like if you've got like a bag of chips and you're just like crunch, I will kill you. I will fly across the table. I will reach through the computer like the girl from The Ring and grab you by the neck. But outside of like being like distracting, like fidget with stuff, because it's gonna help you like pay attention. And that doesn't mean, you know, be like don't sit there looking at memes on your phone while you play. But
your artist is going to be sketching characters in the game, and that's great. That means that if an artist is drawing, they're locked in. Lurking Writer says GMs for NPC voices, a sentence that reminds you of their accent or a catchphrase they commonly say, or cadence. Yeah, one of my favorite moments that happened recently was GM's like, okay, I have to do an activation phrase. Don't judge me for this. I am Puss. Puss in Boots. And you could see that it hurt him to know. Hurt him for us to know. But it was great. Or think of a real actor that would play the character and do the body language too. Exactly. One of the funniest moments of I think Critical Role was they're like Matt is sitting there doing a whole they're talking to this half-orc bard, and Matt's like he's doing the big he's got the grunt and Laura's like, what's this? And he's like he like turns bright red. He's like, he's a casual guy. He's lounging. I don't have a chair back, but he
right.
he was so into it he didn't realize he was doing it. Indeed, basically something you can glance at quickly that you know will spark the memory. Yep, that's exactly. And that's the same true for you know, players. If you're getting into character, you know, if you're doing an accent, what is your activation phrase? You know, what is the playlist you're listening to get into that character's headspace? What are you doing to get ready for the session? Are you reviewing notes? Are you scribbling in a journal? You know, how are you getting ready to get yourself in mind? Because y'all, there is nothing worse than everyone who's at a table and all locked in and all ready to go. And one person's like, hold on, hold on. Okay, so hold on. It's like, please, we're all here. We're all dialed in.
Right.
We're all here. Let's go. We got a story to tell. We got an adventure to go on. We got a dragon to slay or something. Let's go.
And that's another thing. It's like when you're setting mood and atmosphere, when your GM has
Hey, Berm, thank you for the follow.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, when your GM has put in this work to set mood and atmosphere, when your fellow players are locked in, like there is an element of like everybody rows in the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we always talk about how like, yeah, you could play an edge monarch, but they gotta want to be there.
Yeah.
Like you have to be part of the contribution to the mood and setting an atmosphere. And it's the same thing with like character selection, like especially if you're doing like not necessarily one shots, because you can bring not anything, but you can bring a wide range of characters to a one shot because you're not really going to get like deep into character backstory.
Yeah.
So like whatever tragic backstory you got for your character is fine. You got to do the job today.
Yeah. Don't expect to get into your character's backstory in a one shot. Please.
Oh,
Please don't.
Yeah. Ooh.
Please. Please.
Uh,
Especially if it's a party of 6.
Oh. One day we will have an entire episode on party size, or at least like part of an episode, because I have like a half an hour rant
Oh yeah,
about
you do.
party size.
Oh yeah, you do.
Anyway, but just like you don't crunch the potato chip bag while two people are like, while someone is doing the like has failed their last death saving throw and their character is dying and they're giving their last word. Don't be like crunch, 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 crunch.
How many centaurs should a party have on average?
A centaur or a party should have at least one humanoid and one horse. So like minimum 2.
He's like, what if my backstory is abandonment issues with parties leaving after only one mission? Look, that would be a hilarious end of session panic.
Right.
Conversely, don't be surprised if said one shot turns into a multi-year campaign and your 2-line backstory becomes an albatross around your neck. Well, look.
Right.
I have never known a one shot to turn into a whole campaign. That's never happened. True facts, that is how Critical Role started. It was a one shot for Liam's birthday. Well, Liam and Laura, because they share a birthday. And then they just kept playing. Wouldn't a centaur count as both a horse and a humanoid, or is it just half each?
And you see, that's ultimately the question, because then when you have like a minimum
Jason.
1 humanoid, 1 horse, it could be 2 centaurs or 4 centaurs, depending on how. Look, centaurs are very complicated.
They are.
Thing to address.
I'm a day adventurer. I don't know if this is really a career option.
Right, just you find your party in a Home Depot parking lot.
It's the parking lot of the pub.
Yeah. It's the stable outside of the pub.
Yeah, and that's why you've got so many centaurs.
Now I'm imagining like a cool little bar set up in the stable for the centaurs, except people think the centaurs are cool, so no one's in the pub. Everyone's out in the stable getting hammered with centaurs.
Centrifugation. We're in danger of making this topic this centaur of attention again. Yep. Yep. Good job. You hurt David. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
There are, so one thing I do is I have cool lights in my background. So if you watch, like when I play Brandon, hey Laria, welcome on in. When I play Brandon, the lights are all, oh come on, the lights are all green. Because like Brandon, right? And then for Bella, they were teal, because teal is her color. I definitely had moments when I could remember to do it when I was GMing Godplane, where I would change the light colors to match what was happening. So combat, they would turn red. In the mist, they would turn blue. But that was the whole thing I had to remember. But I do love doing that. And then you've got extra people like Matt, who has an entire room with projection backgrounds and just the fanciest things. Like, someday, I'm going to have to go back to the East Coast and play in Matt's fancy room.
And there are a lot of ways to approach your character. I saw a TikTok the other day that was like, I want to know what your character or like your main NPC's dating profile looks like. Like, what does their Tinder account look like? Like what pictures did they choose to take? What are their answers to like the major questions? Which is an interesting like thought experiment for your character. But like, and again, I don't art, so I don't understand color theory. But color theory is also like thinking about what colors would flatter your character, especially if you play a tiefling. Happy Pride. But I find that right. It's funny because I'm not Ace. I just happened to love all the colors on the Ace flag. So like purple is my favorite color. Whenever I make a character in a game, something on this character it's going to be a girl, and there's going to be something purple on her. Like every time. Like every Monster Hunter character I've made, also the Monster Hunter character creator is pretty unmatched. I'm struggling to think of a better one.
Apparently, because WWE wrestling.
Yeah, yeah. You are correct. The wrestling games also world-class character creators. But I love the color purple. I love black. I love gray. And so I'm going to incorporate these colors into my character. And in the very few characters I've played in tabletop games, whether it's offline or online, one of the things I've thought about is like what clothes would this character wear, and what color would they be? And so like, I had a character that was ex-military and never quite left the military behind. And so he was either wearing like army green fatigue-ish type pants and shirt, or he was wearing like the black variety of set, like a bomber jacket and like black jeans or black cargo pants. And like that was his whole closet.
Yeah, Lurking Rider says general mood lighting, great example, Mirim and their character in the Star Wars game. Yeah, Mirim's character, like, they go off on their own in their own room, and they turn on their lightsaber, and the lighting changed. And it was very good and dramatic and wonderful. I'm not jealous of Matt's room. Nope, not at all. Mimics and Misfits Matt or Mercer Matt, because I feel like the answer is yes. Correct. Either way, it's yes. The color theory is by far the most difficult part of art school. You're not an ace, but you are an ace. Forward to seeing what photos Matt updates on the Discord. Yes, so excited. My Warframe spaceship is full of pansexuals colors, very happy colors. I enjoy the color of outer space. Yeah, reasons. Purple is objectively the best. Hilariously, purple is not my favorite color, but it is an excellent color. Are they called fatigues because the soldiers wear them out?
Oh, goddamn. I literally was looking at chat and completely missed that. And I don't know how I missed that, but
What do you call the end of the world when all your friends are bards? It's the apocalypse. Hippocalypse. I am dyslexic, and that was a problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, mood lighting. Again, I know people who go absolutely bananas with terrain and smoke machines and LEDs inside the terrain. And look, y'all, that's really cool. To me, it's a little overkill. I'm kind of here to play a game, and my mini doesn't look exactly like how the character looks in my brain. So like, I want you to play with your toys, and that's great. But like the game, especially when it's like, oh, this thing isn't working. Hold on, I gotta fix it. And I'm like, but I want to play the game.
That is my one complaint about almost every online tabletop system I've used, whether it's like Roll20 or there was another one we used before we really dedicated to Owlbear.
We used some Roll20 for a bit. Bit of a tabletop game by having a tabletop with a game on it.
And
Fair.
like, no shade to Roll20. I understand how tough programming something that interactive can be.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I've known people to spend 40, 50 hours in Roll20 just figuring it out. And then we play a game and something still goes wrong. Like, something doesn't work. Like, I've never, and I mean never, played a Roll20 game, had a Roll20 session that did not have something go wrong.
Captions thought you said Super Bowl 20.
No captions. I did not.
But yeah, and of course, if you're playing a game online, playing a game in person, something's gonna go wrong. Just be ready for it.
Fair.
Like, it's a
Super
little less likely to go wrong in person unless you're, again, doing light up terrain or something. But, you know, something's going to go wrong. Worst case, a cat is going to jump on the table and become the next BBEG.
Yep.
It's just how it is sometimes. It's just how she be.
Actually, I could get Tom to stay put for, like, at least a round of combat if I put a book
Yeah.
on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, a laptop.
We had at the in-person game, Trouble the cat saw us all playing, said, that looks fun. I'll take that dice. And took someone's drive dice. Just said, that is mine now. Is for me. Here
Gotcha.
be watching Newsom's address. Ooh, okay, yeah. Yeah. It's fun living in LA right now.
We are not a political podcast, but we are very political. And the things that are happening in my city right now.
I would love to be a little less political right now, but I live downtown. Right. So I go to sleep and wake up to the sound of choppers over my apartment.
Right.
My friend's cat used to swipe dice when we would play Call of Cthulhu. Yeah. Fortunately, Gilmore isn't much of a dice. When Gilmore was small, Gilmore used to sleep in my dice tray, which was adorable, except
you needed your dice tray.
Yeah.
Because you'd only sleep in it when you needed it.
Yeah. But now that he has grown, he no longer fits in said dice tray. Probably could if he wanted to, but he's got better things like my shoulder.
Right.
And he's not that interested in rolling dice, which is I'm grateful for.
That is good. Because
Yeah.
Because he could turn a 20 into a 1 with one swipe.
He could turn a D20 into a gone.
Right.
Into a lost item. And like, so in person, online, or not, there are some really great physical things that you could do to help keep track. Like, I've made these little dice shakers for a lot of people. For the folks who played in Godplane, I specifically made ones with blue because it was a mist pot, and blue mist would come out of it. So we did it in blue with little blue dice. But these are so useful, be it in person, online, whatever. If you're like I have to remember that I have this item. I have to remember that I have a healing pot. If it's sitting in front of you, if it's sitting next to your dice tray, it's there. And yes, it's cool. It helps set the scene. But also, you remember to use it. It's like for we were playing Acton Cthulhu, and there's drive. And Jareth, why? You have to keep track of how much drive you have. And I had made a custom character sheet with in Google Sheets with checkboxes, so I knew exactly how much I had because I could click, 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 click. But other people with just paper sheets couldn't keep track of it, so they had a D6, and they just turned the number up to however many drive they had, which was funny. When Trouble took it, it's like, well, I guess you have none now.
You're right.
Sucks to be you. But there are things like inspiration coins, right? Do you have inspiration? How do you remember that? Well, if you have a coin that you're like, this means, or some people will take, like, especially if you have like a bardic inspiration, just take the dice and put it next to your D20.
One of the things, one of the sort of like changes that I made from the regular D&D system is the way inspiration works. Because in our home game, we have a player who's quiet but very dedicated. And I remember a couple years ago, like asking them, like, "Hey, are you like having a good time?" And he's like, "No, it was awesome when this happened, and then when such and such happened, and then I went down, and then so and so did this to help me get back up." And I was like, "Okay, so not only are you having a good time, you're also paying attention. That's great." But Kay and another player are the more like talkative people. And between the two of them, they always do something to break my brain, so I award them an inspiration. And so we switched to an inspiration pool because nothing sucks more than you have one player that has like 15 inspirations over the past like 6 months, and then somebody else rolls a 1 on a really important, on like a death saving throw. And then the player with the 15 inspirations is like, "Oh man, I wish I could do something about that." And so we made, so for one, I switched it so that inspirations are group things, or there's a group pool, and all the players decide when it gets used. And I'm extremely lucky because my players are all like, no, that was a bad roll. You're taking that again. And they're like, "Well, I don't know if I want to use it." "You're using an inspiration right now."
It also became so much fun because I started keeping track of why someone got the inspiration. And so it was like coin trap dodged, one shot Roxy, dwarf chode. I don't remember why that's there.
No.
He-Man / Skeletor. Valise's nipple.
Oh, I remember that.
And then Valise's nipple again.
You're right.
Right. And so it becomes this hilarious, like, oh, I remember that. I don't remember that at all, but it's great.
And in the Discord we have for the game, there is an entire channel specifically dedicated to the inspiration pool, where it's like +1 for this reason, -1 for this reason. And we have a running number of like, this is how many you have. And I think it's still like over 10. Like, it's a whole lot.
Got a few. Yeah, great home rule. Nabs it. I always let other players give inspiration to another player when we play D&D. I favor the TOV luck system. Love that. Nice rule. Be a shame if someone stole it. Well, I mean, now Baldur's Gate 3 also made it canon. Baldur's Gate 3 is like, it's a pool.
Yep.
Divvy it out among your party. A lot of Cypher games are moving that way for XP as well. No context document. I have one on someone else's Discord server. They literally created the channel for me. Love that.
Oh, and healing potions. So like another like GM tip. For one, get players that 1, don't cheat, and 2, actually pay attention to their character sheets, it seems like pretty brain dead to expect somebody to look at and understand and remember not just like their character sheet as a whole, but like things like their inventory and what items they have and what weapons and armor they have, and their spell slots. Like,
It is a special day. We are blessed with a Jareth.
oh my
He
god!
is rarely seen and does not want to be here.
Wow. I'm not sure he's ever been on camera.
Once or twice. Once or twice. He does not like it.
He doesn't even know what a camera is.
He somehow knows.
Yep. He's like, I'm being observed. This is unacceptable.
Yeah, I hate this. Because I can pick him up occasionally when I'm not on camera. But if I'm here, he's like, no, fuck this. Whatever this is bad.
And I used to have a rule where if it was your first time playing tabletop and I'm GMing, then you're not allowed to play casters because I'm not keeping track of your spell slots for you. And I've since like moved away from that as my brain capacity has gotten bigger to keep track of things. But try to keep track of what's in your party's inventory, because more than once in both games that I have run and games that Kay has run, we've been like someone's down to like 5 HP. We know the boss hits for like 20 a swipe. Everybody's hurt, all sorts of, and then either I or Kay will go, you do have a healing pot. Like, you don't have to wait for like the cleric, paladin, druid to heal you. You have a healing pot. And we follow the Mercer rule. Like, it's a bonus action.
Caption said the clarinet palette of druid.
Yikes.
Yes, Jareth is very relatable. Jareth is an electron. The moment he's observed, he goes, nope, bye-bye now. Yep. Potions are for hoarding, right? Yeah, look, we've all been that person at the end of the JRPG.
Yep.
I don't know if we all have. Everyone on screen right now has been that person.
Right.
At the end of the JRPG. But yeah. And just like, I'm going to say this. Above and beyond anything else we're talking about. Above and beyond music, above and beyond lighting, above and beyond, props and all the cool stuff that you can do. The most important thing to set the atmosphere is to have a group of people who like and trust each other. Because nothing is gonna make the table, nothing is gonna ruin the mood like a toxic player. Nothing is gonna ruin the mood like two people, like one person just going after another person in and out of character. Right? Like, nothing is going to ruin the mood more than someone who's like, I want to play Warhammer, but we're here playing Thirsty Sword Lesbians. So I'm going to try to make this TSL as Warhammery as I can.
Or just anyone who plays Warhammer as not satire. Anybody who's serious about it. Like, I think it was on the talk show where I was like, yo, I've been playing some Warhammer video games, and like the pretend fascism is fun to engage in. It's like being a stormtrooper in Star Wars. Like it's fun to play pretend. But are these people serious? And then somebody like directed me, they're like, no, go to, I think it's Games Workshop, but whatever company, they have a whole page dedicated to this.
Yeah.
Of like, no, the whole joke is that this is bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it is very much. They also like, I think it's in one of the novels, all the Space Marines are basically ace. Like, it just doesn't occur to them. And someone was like, giving a Space Marine. He's like, you got a small dick. And he's like, yeah. It's like, no, but it's like small. And he's like, yeah, why does it matter?
Yeah.
Why does that matter?
Like,
and he's like,
I don't hit xenovores with my dick. I have chainsword.
Yes, bards absolutely can heal. David knows.
Yep.
Kinley has saved Kessla's ass more times than we can verb. If I run another game, I will start the players off having just finished a first aid course. Also, you could make a medicine check. You could just straight up medicine check someone. Like the meme said, don't play a TTRPG with someone you would not take a 3-hour road trip with.
That is some of the best advice.
Thirsty Sword Lesbians meets Warhammer. Sisters of Battle with chainswords.
I'm 100% with you.
That there's like 2 memes going around that my head has just like smushed together with this, which is like, you want to see what 2 trans girls do behind closed doors? Is it Warhammer? It's fucking Warhammer. Yeah. And the other one is like, God, it was something about like, what does this and magic have in common? It's hot when trans girls do it. And I'm like, yeah, Thirsty Sword Lesbians, battle sisters. I'm into it. Let's go. 8-foot-tall space himbos. Yes. It is explicitly dystopia, and I don't know how people misunderstand it. The same way people misunderstood everything. Like, the same reason people didn't understand that Homelander was a bad guy.
Oh, yo. The first episode, it's clear that he's the villain. Like, not just a bad guy, but the villain of the show. And like, I think I've seen like either 1 or 1.5 seasons of The Boys, but like, starts off the villain and then just gets worse as the season goes on.
Yep.
And you mean to tell me you watched like 4 seasons of it? And then when they're like, by the way, in case you didn't notice, Homelander's the villain, and then everybody lost their are you kidding? Like, and that's very different from like finding villains iconic and attractive.
Right.
Like,
this was just straight up, what do you mean?
Like, I have a friend who is in love with Anakin, not Darth Vader, with Anakin. And I'm like, that crybaby bitch. No, but like, they know that he's messed up and immature and whiny, and also the villain also is a bad guy.
Yeah. Look, I need it to be canon in the prequels that Qui-Gon was a Sith and was just like, no, this is the bad guy. We need to train him. I know what he's going to do. We need to train him. Green can be a powerful ally because I'm a fucking Sith.
I have so many Star Wars rants.
I know you do.
Including, but not limited to, the Jedi were idiots.
Yeah.
Just let him romance that major political figure. Just let him be happy. Even if it means he doesn't get to be a Jedi anymore, give him a lightsaber, let him go be with her. Instead,
Warhammer.
you get Order 66.
Right. Warhammer. It's literally grimdark. It's right there in the opening blurb. I don't even like Warhammer, but it's true. Starship Troopers movie. Exactly. The same people who didn't get the Starship Troopers. It's the thing. The actor, on the other hand, so friggin' good at it. Exactly. The actor is very good at it. Qui-Gon was the only Jedi who was right. Yes, and that's why he was a Sith.
I remember I saw Starship Troopers when I was like 10, 12. And I come from a long line of men who were in the military. Like my father, my uncle, my grandfather, my great uncle, all served. And I think my great grandfather served. For different reasons, including but not limited to, you go to the military or you go to prison. And they're like, listen, put the patch right here. I'm going in. And even at the time when I was like, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to join the military and be just like every other man in my family. And my dad was like, don't do it, buddy, don't do it. Don't join the military. Don't join this man's military. Not the U.S. government's military. Don't do it. But even when I was at my peak of that, I saw Starship Troopers, and I was like, are we the baddies? Are we the bad guys? And if like 12-year-old me could see that it was like a parody of like military propaganda, how could grown-ass men watch Starship Troopers and be like, yeah, shoot bugs?
Drank the Kool-Aid. So I have enraged chat with my Qui-Gons.
Right.
It's cool. It's cool. We all have strong Star Wars opinions. I'm sorry.
Rex says, look, you aren't wrong, but the Sith are all kind of dumb because they know their apprentice is going to betray them, but are always surprised when it happens. Listen, you are 100% correct. The Sith would be way, way more powerful if they weren't like, all right, here, I'm raising you so that you can stab me in the back with a lightsaber. Instead, I'm going to raise you and like five more you motherfuckers. And then we're just going to take over the Jedi. Right.
Two. But yes. That whole, I don't remember how we got here, but like, yeah, that back to don't play games with someone you wouldn't go on a 3-hour road trip with. And we said it before, and we're going to keep saying it. Session zeros and making sure, like, set the tone of the game. And if your GM says, hey, we're playing Magical Girls, and I want to play it Grimdark, and everyone else at the table says, we really want to play it Standard Magical Girls, maybe you play it Standard Magical Girls.
Right.
If you're like, okay, we're playing D&D 5e, and it's going to be like a standard high fantasy adventure, and one person is like, I want to play it gritty with keeping track of bullets and infection rolls and maybe tell that person, and no one else wants to do that, maybe tell that person, we're not doing that. Like, maybe the next campaign, right? There have been campaigns with people that I've definitely wanted to play with, where I've been like, that's not for me. I'm not going to have fun, and my not having fun means that other people are not going to have fun, because even if I'm on my best behavior, my energy is going to be off, and we don't want to do that. So yeah, set all that in advance. Make sure everyone knows what the heck is up. Rule 2. The rule of 2, hot take. Everyone created it and passed it down to Darth Vader in order to ruin the Sith as revenge. I know it's not Lucas, not Revan, but whatever. Yeah, fair. But yes, make sure, like, keep your table safe. Make sure everyone's having fun. Do check-ins if you need to. Because again, nothing is going to ruin the atmosphere, the mood, the game faster than people not getting along, people not feeling safe, or people trying to play 2 or even 3 very different games. I think we're at a wrapping up point. David, did you have any final thoughts or words of wisdom?
Yeah, I would just like to reiterate. So, like, we covered music and dressing up and props and a bunch of other things you could do to set the mood. But again, I would like to reiterate and reinforce that none of them are mandatory, and snacks.
Snacks are mandatory.
And that, none of them are mandatory. And it's important to note that each of those things isn't necessarily right for every person. Like when we brought up music, a bunch of people were like, listen, I can't listen to blank while
I need my K-pop in order to do my emotional performance.
Right. And I remember a conversation I had with a buddy of mine, and he and I talked music, and he's like, hey, have you heard such an album? I'm like, no, but he sent me a link. I was like, I'll check it out when I'm done work. And he's like, oh, well, you can listen to it while you work. And I'm like, I cannot listen to things with lyrics. Like if it's my first time listening to something with lyrics, I can't do that and work at the same time.
Mhm.
Like if it's something I've listened to a bunch of times, then sure. Um, but none of that stuff is mandatory. Remember that not all of it will work for each person. But consider it tools in your toolbox, things that you can use to enhance your experience. Like back in the day when Guitar Hero and Rock Band were a big deal, I spent enough time playing Rock Band whereby if I had just picked up a guitar, I would be a professional guitarist by now. But and I would go over to my buddy's house and we'd play for like 8 hours straight. But a mutual friend of ours threw a Rock Band / Guitar Hero party where he had 3 TVs set up with like 6 guitars, 2 microphones, and a drum set because Rock Band had the drums. And he had laser lights and bought 2 fog machines because there was one that connected to the Xbox with Rock Band, and then just another like a regular fog machine. And let me tell you, that with some cheap wine and a bunch of people was an amazing time. And did I have fun playing with my buddy sitting in his living room, like just me and him playing the game? Sure, but it was a very different, far more immersive experience when it had all the extra stuff.
Yeah.
So do not be afraid to include all the extra stuff.
And try it. And if it doesn't work, don't do it. Check in, ask, because it's better to ask than to, put in all the effort only to find that, I made these awesome, creepy spiders that will drop out of the ceiling at the start of this encounter. Oh, someone has genuinely terrible arachnophobia. They're never coming to my house again.
Right.
So, yeah, embrace the imagination. Your child self spent all their time exploring. Exactly. So that is our show for today. Thank you all for hanging out with us. Reminder, I don't have a whole lot else going on this week. We'll be back Tuesday with the same, but the tarot interview is up where I was interviewed and we did some tarot pulls and we talk stories based off of the cards that we pulled. Thank you all for hanging out. Rex, thank you so much for the resub. Matt, Mimics and Misfits, thank you for the resub and for all of the gift subs. Lurking Writer, thank you for 10 gift subs. You are, both of you, redonkulous. I love you both. Thank you so much. Miriam, thank you for the follow. Happy Pride, y'all. Be kind to yourselves. Be excellent to others. It's wild out there. Take care of yourself. Take care of your people. We're going to find someone to raid, and we will see you all next time. Thank you again.
Thank you.